The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 26. Liu's transformation skill into his human form have the duration of just 1 hour. In other words, after the hour was up, he would change back into a fish. Until the hour was up, he must remain in human form. Canceling the transformation was impossible. The shitty system didn't provide him with a cancellation method. Liu saw that he was just about to be trapped in the room by Jingwang again. Although this room was big, there was nowhere to hide. Jumping into the wardrobe or hiding behind a curtain was practically asking for death. Liu stood up urgently and ran over to open a window. Looks like he really needed to jump through a window once more. He remembered this window. When he used the shape-shifting pill, he climbed through it once. The fake mountain was right next to it. He was familiar with this path. Liu's fingers went to fiddle with the window handle, but the originally very easy to open window actually couldn't be opened at all. What's going on? Liu shook it twice in panic. The window handle didn't budge at all. He suddenly realized that the reason this window couldn't be opened was likely because it had been sealed shut. Who would seal a window shut? There's no need to ask. But when was it sealed? How come he wasn't aware of it? Liu felt sweat clinging to his back. If this window didn't work, then let's try the other ones. However, after trying everything, Liu despairingly discovered that they all didn't work. Moreover, there were guards outside the door. This he knew. It looks like he can't get out. Xiangfeng's barks were getting closer and closer. Liu lifted his head. If he got captured by Jingwang. Jingwang has been searching for him for this long. Would Jingwang kill him directly? Did he need to say, "Stop, master. I'm your pet fish"? It was hard to imagine what kind of expression Jingwang would make after learning Liu was his pet fish, but if he didn't say it and made up some random lie instead, it won't take long for it to be exposed. If Jingwang captured him, Jingwang didn't even need to do anything. As soon as Liu changed back to a fish, he'd be exposed. The main mission was still missing the last step. Because he was busy trying to save a cannon fodder, Liu had not put in much effort to achieve an intimate contact with Jingwang. If Jingwang became aware of his true identity, not killing him was already lucky enough. The other definitely wouldn't allow him to continue doing this task in the future. Was there really nothing he could do? Beads of sweat gathered on the tip of Liu's nose. His gaze swept past every object in the room desperately. Jingwang and Xuěshān followed closely behind the wildly dashing Xiangfeng. It looked like Xiangfeng was just about to run into the inner courtyard, looking like it was about to dash straight into Jingwang's room. Jingwang felt a sense of astonishment grew inside his heart. He was already suspecting that the youth who escaped before was the one who sent Xiangfeng with the letter. Could it be? Under his strict and meticulous pursuit, the youth still didn't leave his estate this entire time. Jingwang recalled for a moment that the subordinates he sent out really didn't report back any useful information. At beginning he thought it was because the thief was too cunning. Yet this person continued to appear inside his estate repeatedly, leaving behind traces in his very own room. Did he make a mistake? Has this person been hiding inside the estate this entire time, instead of escaping far away? After all, the most dangerous place was also the safest. If Xiangfeng didn't go the wrong way and the thief was really hiding in his room, he was confident that the young man wouldn't be able to escape this time. It looked like Xiangfeng was just about to barge through the door when suddenly, it stopped, nose taking a whiff to the left, then another whiff to the right. Why did you stop? Xuěshān caught up and rubbed his beloved dog's head. Xiangfeng barked twice, made a turn and started to head off towards a little bamboo forest outside the house. It ran towards a person standing at the entrance of the bamboo forest. A mistake? Jingwang looked at his room with surprise. After a moment of hesitation, he also followed Xiongfeng towards the bamboo forest. At this moment, Li Yu felt like he just encountered a terrifying enemy. Sob sob sob, this fish almost died of fright. He didn't know why Xiongfeng changed directions and didn't come in, but there was one thing he was certain. This sudden change of direction by Xiongfeng really helped him out a lot. He just happened to hit the time limit. As long as he could change back into a fish and return to the fish tank, his cover won't be exposed. Xiongfeng ran in front of the person near the bamboo forest and started to wag its tail. It jumped around happily at the person. This person in long white robes crouched down and affectionately rubbed Xiongfeng's head. Xiongfeng seemed to like this person very much and circled them several times. Who are you? Ye Qinghuan examined this person. He noticed this person's attractive appearance. If it weren't for his male attire, Ye Qinghuan would have mistaken him for a woman at first sight. This person greeted him politely in a not servile yet not overbearing manner, saying, "Answering your lordship, I live in this estate's Jingxi courtyard. I'm Chu Yanyu. Originally, I was passing by here, but for some unknown reason, your beloved dog came running over to me. So, you're called Chu Yanyu. Xiongfeng seems to like you a lot." Ye Qinghuan gave an open-mouthed smile, but it didn't mean anything special. It was normal for Ye Shizi to be friendly towards good-looking people. Although the other person was a man and Ye Qinghuan didn't like men that way, this didn't stop him from appreciating Chu Yanyu's beautiful face. However, Ye Qinghuan didn't really believe Chu Yanyu's words. What kind of family was in the Chang'an Palace? He had seen all sorts of trickery between the women fighting for favor there. For Xiongfeng to jump on an unfamiliar person, this was most likely because of something Chu Yanyu did deliberately. Ye Qinghuan's frequent visits to the Jing estate weren't in vain. He at least knew that Jingwang kept many people sent in from outside into Qingxi courtyard. Looks like this Chu beauty's arrival wasn't anything proper. Who would have thought that he would encounter this kind of thing in the Jing estate? Ye Qinghuan couldn't help but laugh. Anyways, this wasn't his own place. He only needed to watch the fun. There was no need to take matters into his own hands. The banquet at the Jing estate happened not very long ago. Jingwang still recognized Chu Yanyu. His ice-cold gaze landed on Chu Yanyu's hands. Chu Yanyu said he didn't know why Xiongfeng would run towards him, but Jingwang's eyesight was sharp. He already noticed the other hastily kicking aside a green-colored plant. The green tinge left behind by the plant's juices was still on his hand, not yet wiped away. Jingwang's eyes darkened. Chu Yanyu was lying, that's for certain. This person did something deliberately to lead Xiongfeng over here. A feeling of displeasure rose in Jingwang's heart. He sent a glance in Ye Qinghuan's direction. Because Jingwang and Ye Shizi had left in a hurry, Wang Shi still hadn't managed to catch up. Ye Qinghuan unexpectedly found himself to be the interpreter. Ye Qinghuan. Ye Shizi lightly coughed and pretended he didn't understand at all. Jingwang glared at Ye Shizi again, so he asked reluctantly, "Chu Yanyu, what are you doing here?" Chu Yanyu knelt down and bowed. Then he confidently raised his head and said, "I heard that your highness and Lord Ye are looking for someone who is good with calligraphy. Why don't you let me try?" Ever since Chu Yanyu entered the Jing estate, he had been staying in Qingxi courtyard. The Jing estate was guarded heavily. It took quite the effort for the sixth prince to send over a letter, yet the letter only told him to make plans to win over Jingwang so that Jingwang could help them make connections with Chang'an Palace. Chu Yanyu truly wanted to help Mu Tianxiao. Yet after he entered the estate, he had not seen Jingwang's face even once. The entire Jing estate treated the people living in Qingxi courtyard as outsiders and guarded against them. Naturally, this included him. In order to help Mu Tianxiao, he must leave Qingxi courtyard first and gain Jingwang's attention again. When Chu Yanyu entered the estate, the third prince gave him plenty of money to win him over. Xuěshān spent quite a bit to finally bribe a guard responsible for patrolling outside of Qingshi courtyard. The people serving Jingwang's inner courtyard were too hard to bribe. This guard also only agreed to pass along some words and rumors to him. Most of it was useless information. This time the guard told Xuěshān that Yeshizi brought his dog to the Jing estate. Jingwang and Yeshizi were searching for a person, someone with good calligraphy. This guard wasn't serving these two people personally, so they didn't actually know very clearly what was going on. After Xuěshān learned of this, he decided to use Yeshizi's dog to appear in front of Jingwang and recommend himself along the way. He read extensively in the past. From the books, he once read that dogs loved a type of sweet-scented plant. Someone in Qingshi courtyard was growing this kind of plant. Xuěshān devised a plan and obtained some leaves of this plant. Then, he begged the guard to let him leave Qingshi courtyard just once. Actually, people staying in Qingshi courtyard can occasionally go out for a walk. It was just that they couldn't go too far from the courtyard and needed a guard to follow them. In exchange for considerable amount, the guard helped him with the condition that this guard had to personally follow him. Xuěshān exited Qingshi courtyard like he wished. While the guard wasn't prepared, he left the guard behind. He heard the guard describe the general layout of the Jing estate and did his best to walk towards the direction where he could encounter Jingwang. From afar, he saw Jingwang and a young man chasing a black-colored dog. He felt like the guard didn't lie. The young man must be the heir of Chang'an Palace. The dog was the heir's beloved pet. Xuěshān suppressed his fear of dogs and ripped the leaves into pieces, painting the juice of the leaves on his fingers. The dog's nose was very keen. Sure enough, it was attracted to come over here from a distance. Xuěshān didn't have any status or title in the Jing estate. He was only someone brought over from the outside. He didn't even count as a servant, so he didn't even have the right to refer to himself as the servant in front of Jingwang. Before, when he was at the side of the sixth prince, Mu Tianxiao, they were closed enough that he knew of his high ambitions. The sixth prince never requested him to address him deferentially. Xuěshān didn't want to refer to himself as this commoner, so he eccentrically used I. Although this seemed refined and courteous, in actuality, this was extremely inappropriate. If Wang Shi heard this, he would have scolded him severely. However, between Yeshizi and Jingwang, neither really cared about these empty courtesies. The other was just about to get angry, but it wasn't because of the way Xuěshān addressed himself. Jingwang was very displeased with Xuěshān's self-assertive action that led Xiongfeng off track, disrupting Xiongfeng's original path. Xuěshān was almost practically saying, "I'm the person you're searching for." Jingwang stared at him for a while, then sneered coldly. Xuěshān felt nervous from being stared this way. Although the sixth prince wanted him to win over Jingwang, and Xuěshān also told himself that he must make Jingwang fall in love with him, Jingwang was a mute. Xuěshān really didn't know how to see through a mute's thoughts and needs. In any case, the other's expression right now clearly did not indicate infatuation. On the contrary, it made him somewhat apprehensive. At this time, Wang Gonggong finally caught up. Jingwang raised his chin and moved his fingers. Wang Shi examined the gestures and ordered people to prepare brush and ink. Jingwang casually wrote down a few words and threw it at Xuěshān. Xuěshān didn't know what to do with it. Wang Shi said, "His Highness wants you to write down these words." Ye Qinghuan came over to take a look, silent but with a smile on his face. Xuěshān had no idea, but he was very much aware. The words that Jingwang picked to write were the sum of the words that were on the letter. Since Xuěshān voluntarily appeared to say that he was the person they were searching for, then of course he had to verify it with his calligraphy. Xuěshān gave thanks and carefully deliberated for a moment. Then, he wrote those words. First, he wrote in a rather elegant and small script. In order to leave a deep impression on Jingwang, he even showed off his ambidexterity and rewrote the words with his other hand in a confident and carefree manner. He was just frustrating over how he couldn't display all of his talents. Although everyone who saw him would always praise him for his attractive appearance, Xuěshān was still most pleased with his own talents. What talent was that? This was it. Unfortunately for him, Jingwang only ended up apathetically glancing at it once. Then Jingwang only spared Xuěshān a tiny bit of his gaze. It couldn't even compare to the time Jingwang used to examine the brush he just finished using. Jingwang brushed off his sleeves in disgust. Wang Shi immediately said, "His Highness said it's not right and wants you to get lost." Xuěshān wanted to say something else, but Wang Shi already ordered the guards to take him away. He heard Wang Shi swearing and cursing. Because he left Jingshi courtyard without permission and broke the rules, the guard that he bribed as well as himself were both hit 200 times as punishment. The guard was directly banished from the Jing estate. Even he, who was full of talent, was dragged back to Jingshi courtyard to live or perish on his own. Wang Gonggong said this was Jingwang's orders. If Xuěshān was thrown out and died outside, Jingwang would have to inform the third prince. But if he died inside Jing estate, then it's fine to just bury him. Xuěshān was really frightened. Lying on the bed full of injuries, he cried non-stop. No one has ever treated him like this. How could this man be so vicious? After Xiongfeng was lured away by Xuěshān, the dog didn't want to move anymore. No matter how much Ye Qinghuan prodded him, Xiongfeng only licked his hand, completely unperturbed. Looks like they wouldn't be able to find that person anymore. Ye Qinghuan gave Jingwang an apologetic smile. He also didn't think an interruption would occur midway and complicate the matter. Jingwang looked at Xiongfeng for a while, lost in thought. If Xuěshān didn't intercepted it, the direction Xiongfeng was originally heading off to was his room. If they go there now, it would probably be too late. Nevertheless, Jingwang still ordered Wang Shi to stand watch as he went to search himself. "Tianqi, I'll go with you." Ye Qinghuan also wanted to know who sent the letter. Jingwang paused for a moment and turned back to look at Ye Qinghuan. He shook his head lightly and then walked off himself. "Ye Qinghuan?" To the side, Wang Shi sighed and said, "My lord, His Highness already has a suspect in mind. You can just leave this matter to the Jing estate." Ye Qinghuan's eyes widened. Does he have some other clues? Who is it? Just thinking about it made Wang Shi somewhat grumpy. His Highness has been investigating this person for a long time. We still don't know his name, but he seemed to be someone's male concubine. Ye Qinghuan? Someone's male concubine, sent a letter to him? Ye Qinghuan shook his head in bewilderment. Was his seductiveness and charm as an air that enticing? Jingwang came to the entrance of his room and abruptly pushed open his door. There was no one in the room. He knew the youth was good at running away and would clean up after himself. Sometimes, the youth even deliberately placed false trails. However, there would ultimately be little clues left behind. Before this, after the youth got in a few times, Jingwang had ordered Wang Shi to secretly seal the windows. It was impossible for the windows to be opened now. At least this time, there was no way for the youth to escape through the windows. As usual, Jingwang gave a look at his fish. The fish was swimming slowly inside the fish tank. Jingwang decided that he was going to search for the clues himself this time. First, he walked around the room once, but didn't find anything. Because his inner robes and inner pants were stolen every time, once randomly thrown on the floor, once mixed in his dirty laundry, Jingwang felt like he should start with his clothes. Therefore, he opened his wardrobe. He didn't notice at all the gaze that had been following behind him ever since he entered the room. Inside the crystal tank, the little carp nervously leaned against the wall of the tank, not even daring to breathe loudly as he watched Jingwang search all over. Xiongfeng didn't run straight into the room, which gave him more time. Liu took off the clothes. After his portable storage space upgraded, he often used one slot to carry fresh water, leaving the leftover slot to carry other things. After the letter was sent off, one of the slots was empty. It was perfectly capable of storing clothes. However, if he really placed the clothes inside the portable storage space and Jingwang couldn't find them, then he would still suspect the clothes were stolen. Therefore, Li Yu simply folded the clothes again and put it back into the wardrobe. Reality proved that he made the right choice. After Jingwang opened the wardrobe, his lips curved upwards, but he didn't seem to have discovered anything. The next second, Jingwang, who shouldn't have discovered anything, effortlessly pulled out the clothes that Li Yu wore before. Li Yu was so dumbfounded that he forgot to swim. How did Jingwang do that? He was already extremely careful this time. He didn't dirty the clothes. After folding the clothes, he made sure it looked the same as any other garments in the wardrobe. Moreover, he didn't put them on the very top. Jingwang shouldn't have been able to discover it. However, Li Yu didn't know. Ever since his clothes were stolen for the second time, Jingwang ordered Wang Shi to sew numbers inside the clothes lining. When placing the clothes inside the wardrobe, they must be in the order of this number. Since the thief already stole them twice, Jingwang had a feeling this thief would use his clothes again. As long as he checked the sequence of numbers, he'd know if anyone touched them. As a result, it really did happen. But other than this, there were no other findings. The thief wasn't trapped as he expected and instead, managed to escape again. And it was in a manner that even he was unaware of. Jingwang walked over, watching the fish swim as he considered the whereabouts of the youth. Li Yu was afraid of Jingwang's focused, serious expression the most. It was too handsome. No wait. It should be too smart. Li Yu felt like he was always a moment away from having his cover blown away. He couldn't lower his guard. Gathering his courage, Li Yu decided to sell fish charms once again. But since Jingwang has been living with him from sunrise to sunset, normal fish charms probably wouldn't affect him so easily. It was actually Xiongfeng who reminded Li Yu that some dogs like to chase their own tails and run around in circles. Xiongfeng was no different. Li Yu decided to copy this and also chase his tail once. Even if it looked a bit foolish, as long as it can divert Jingwang's attention. Li Yu turned his body and endured his embarrassment as he started to chase the tip of his tail. He told himself non-stop, just don't think of the tail as a tail. While giving chase, he surprisingly discovered that the tip of his tail can actually touch his head. Fish instincts took over. Li Yu, who uncontrollably played with his tail for quite a while, I accidentally played too much again. Jingwang very easily noticed the fish playing with its own tail. Unconsciously, he also watched for a while. Jingwang has never seen this fish play this game before, so he felt it's a novelty. After the fish stopped, Jingwang picked the fish up and placed it into a nearby teacup, stroking it a few times. Li Yu shamelessly used the tail that he had just touched his head with, to wrap around Jingwang's fingers, coiling them around for a while. The coldness in Jingwang's eyes immediately dissipated as he shook his head with a smile. Humph. Outwardly saying no but actually wanted it very much deep inside, huh. Li Yu saw through his hypocritical master, wrapping his tail around Jingwang without letting go. Suddenly, Jingwang seemed to have seen something. A look of surprise appeared in his eyes as he stopped playing with Li Yu, setting the fish upright. Li Yu. Jingwang gently pulled off a piece of food crumbs from the area where the fish fin met the fish body. Li Yu. Li Yu often ate fish food. It wasn't strange to occasionally drop fish food crumbs. He was Jingwang's pet fish anyways. There's no need to worry about dirtying the water. The servants were rather diligent about changing it. But the food crumb here was pink colored. Li Yu, damn. The peach blossom cookies. When he turned into a human, he gluttonously ate a few peach blossom cookies. Before changing back, he even stuffed his mouth full of them. Although he remembered wiping his face, How was he supposed to know that he didn't wipe himself clean enough and crumbs still remained on his fish scale after changing back? Liu was very guilty, feeling like his cover was about to be blown again. Jingwang thought for a moment. He looked around the room and also turned his gaze towards the peach blossom cookies on the table, the corner of his mouth twitching uncontrollably. Xiao Yu can jump around inside the house. Most likely, it jumped onto the peach blossom cookies. Did the fish also want to eat peach blossom cookies? Jingwang thought, why can't it eat cookies? Peach blossom cookies were also made of flour. Fish should be able to eat it. Jingwang slowly walked over and grabbed the entire plate of today's peach blossom cookies, moving it over. Squeezing a cookie into pieces, he sprinkled it into the water. Liu froze for a moment and then happily waved his tail. Unexpectedly, not only did Jingwang not suspect him, Jingwang was actually personally feeding the peach blossom cookies to him. Liu, this fish was a bit touched. To a fish, a water-soaked cookie piece still tasted pretty good. Jingwang saw the fish eating happily and also took a piece. As he placed it in his mouth, he unintentionally glanced at the remaining dessert with the corner of his eye. Although it was placed in the usual fashion, the number of cookies was obviously not right. The royal family was very particular about the items presented. Even with dessert and fruits, the amount must be in auspicious numbers. Counting the ones before his eyes, plus the one in his hand, as well as the piece that was fed to the fish, the count was clearly wrong. Someone touched the peach blossom cookies. Realizing this, Jingwang swiftly put down the cookie in his hand. He knew that the servants definitely wouldn't be this audacious. And there seemed to be only one person who was daring enough to touch the things in his room. Good thing the other person didn't poison the cookies, otherwise his fish. Jingwang's gaze fell and landed on the little carp who was currently carrying a small piece of peach blossom cookie on top of its head, while hastily gulping down another piece into its mouth. Jingwang. Xiao Yu was a little cute. It messed up his train of thought. Jingwang waved the jade bell and summoned the guards in charge of watching the room. All of the guards said the same thing. Before your highness entered this room, only the heir of Chang'an Palace and Wang Gonggong entered here. There definitely wasn't anyone else. Yeshizi originally brought his dog inside with him. Then Yeshizi left. The dog stayed inside the room for a while and then ran out by itself. As for whether or not Xiongfeng had a letter in its mouth when it exited the room, the guards weren't very clear. Jingwang rubbed the center of his brows. This didn't make sense. If it was only Yexinghuan and Wang Gonggong and no one else, then what's going on with the clothes that were moved and the irregular number of peach blossom cookies? Even if the thief entered the room while the guards weren't paying attention, he shouldn't be able to leave. The windows have long been sealed shut. Jingwang had made all sorts of arrangements. Yet the thief still managed to enter and exit his room as he pleased. Tianqi, it looks like Xiongfeng had recovered. With Wang Shi in the lead, Yexinghuan brought his beloved dog into the room. Xiongfeng excitedly rushed in front of the fish tank and wagged its tail vigorously at the little carp, as if expressing that he had finished his task exceptionally and now needed praise. Liu quickly swam over as well and waved his tail twice at it. Stupid dog, stop hanging around me all the time. However, a dog couldn't understand the language of a fish. As soon as Xiongfeng saw the fish swim over, it tried to use its nose to poke the fish again. Xiongfeng rammed into the crystal wall several times but still refused to give up. With a face full of awkwardness, Yexinghuan watched at his beloved dog act stupid. This scene made Jingwang abruptly recall one thing. When Xiongfeng gave the letter to Yexinghuan, it was partially wet. Even right now, the dog still had some vestige of water on it. But the fish tank inside the room wasn't broken and it was impossible for Xiongfeng to get inside the fish tank. Then how exactly did Xiongfeng get wet? A lot of things didn't make sense. From the unidentified youth that he could never find, to the youth's frequent appearances inside his room, to the fact that no one entered the room yet the clothes and peach blossom cookies were clearly touched. Jingwang felt like he was always missing a little something, just one piece, and with this one little thing, he could connect everything and figure out the truth. Yet Xinghuan listened to Wang Shi recount what had happened before one by one, even forgetting to blink. After swallowing his saliva, he said with an uncertain expression, "Tianqi, don't tell me that your room is haunted." "Haunted?" Jingwang paused and then immediately scoffed. "What ghost? Unlikely. At most it was a thief." Even if there really was a ghost, he wasn't afraid. Xiangfeng excitedly barked a few times, still wanting to poke the fish. Then Jingwang saw his Xiaoyu cleverly hiding inside the fake mountain, only revealing its tail. Seeing the fish, Jingwang, who was unafraid of ghosts, became even more cool-headed. It couldn't go on like this. He wasn't afraid of thieves. He was only afraid that the thief might hurt Xiaoyu. Previous attempts to increase the guards were useless. Jingwang gave Wang Shi a glance. Since increasing the defense didn't work, there's only one other plan. Yet Xinghuan felt like Jingwang's fish and his beloved dog had a connection by fate. He wanted to bring the fish to Chang'an Palace for 2 days to experience the joy of raising a fish as well. However, he didn't even get to propose the suggestion to Jingwang yet when he saw Wang Shi pull out a crystal bottle that was larger than ordinary teacups from his sleeves. There was a gold cover on this bottle's opening. The body also had a handle to make it easy to carry. Wang Shi nimbly opened the crystal bottle and placed some fresh water inside. Then he carefully moved the little carp who was hiding in the fake mountain inside the crystal bottle. As soon as the little carp entered the crystal bottle, it curiously swam around happily. Yet Xinghuan was stupefied. "What are you trying to do?" Wang Shi answered with a smile, "His Highness is worried about Master Xiaoyu. He plans to bring it along wherever he goes. There's air holes on the gold cover of this bottle so the fish can breathe. It's perfect to carry and hold Master Xiaoyu with." Yet Xinghuan was extremely distressed. "Putting it in a huge fish tank bestowed by the emperor wasn't enough for you, now you plan to carry the fish with you all the time." Originally, he wanted to beg Jingwang for the fish. Now the man was even planning to carry the fish around at all times. What's the point of asking? Jingwang cut Yeshizi with a glare, picked up the crystal bottle and walked off. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 27. For Liu, it was both a blessing and a curse that Jingwang wanted to put the little carp into a crystal bottle to be carried around at all times. He was touched that his tyrant master was worried about this fish's safety. It showed how much he pampered and loved this fish. However, to be carried around at all times and being confined to a bottle that only had one cover made it impossible for Liu to find a chance to transform back into a human. When Liu realized this fact, he had already been carried around by Jingwang for a large portion of the day. The outside world was too enticing. Liu actually never imagined that one day, he would be able to wander around as a fish, so he kept his fish eyes opened wide and swim around inside the bottle while looking around all over. When the servants of the Jing estate saw him, they all bowed respectfully. This satisfied the little carp's small vanity. Fine, they were actually bowing respectfully towards Jingwang who was carrying him. Occasionally experiencing the feeling of using powerful connections to intimidate people was not bad. Jingwang also enjoyed carrying fish around like this because it was convenient. The fish tank was too heavy in the end. It needed several people to lift it. The teacup and bowl were too shallow. He could accidentally drop the fish. With the crystal bottle, however, there was no need for such worries. He could bring it even when entering the imperial palace. Jingwang tasted the benefits, so he liked to do it even more and kept the fish inside the crystal bottle at all times. At first, Liu found it very fun. When he discovered that Jingwang didn't seem to plan to put him back into the fish tank and that, in actuality, he was being trapped inside the bottle, he became somewhat unhappy. Although the bottle allowed him to stay together with his master at all times, he was being prevented from doing any of his mission. He also couldn't change back into a human. He could only watch wide-eyed as many good opportunities swept by. It was such a terrible feeling. The life of a fish being confined in a bottle was as lonely as a snow. He needed to let Jingwang understand that although the bottle was convenient, for the sake of this fish's mental and physical health, it's best to not let fish stay inside the bottle for too long. Initially, he planned to give a fierce reminder by flipping onto his stomach to scare Jingwang a bit in order to express his dissatisfaction. However, he saw Jingwang order Wang Shi to place a chain around the handle of the crystal bottle. He then wrapped this chain around his own hand several times to avoid losing grip and accidentally dropping the crystal bottle. Liu lost the desire to scare Jingwang. Jingwang's palm was red from the tightly wrapped chains. The little carp felt his heart aching. Although it felt uncomfortable being kept inside a bottle, seeing Jingwang like this because of him made Liu felt even more distressed. Jingwang has never raised a pet before. He didn't really know what a fish wanted. Placing Liu inside a bottle was a kind gesture. All he needed to do was to let Jingwang know that he didn't want to stay inside the bottle all the time. He shouldn't deliberately flop on his belly to scare Jingwang. After all, it wasn't as if he had a grudge against him. Liu forcibly suppressed his feeling of finding novelty and curiosity towards the outside world and quietly sank to the bottom of the bottle. The little carp was usually lively and active. As soon as it quieted down, it became very apparent. Jingwang gave the fish a puzzled glance. The fish was just looking at everything excitedly a second ago. How come it suddenly withered? Concerned that the air holes on the cover of the bottle were blocked, Jingwang specifically examined it for a while. The crystal bottle was completely fine. The fish continued to be listless, not getting any better at all. Jingwang ordered the servants who knew how to raise fish to come over as he was afraid that Xiaoyu was sick again. Every time the servants came over before to examine the fish for illness, things always ended up being false alarms. This time, they held up the crystal bottle and turned it around all over to examine the fish but still couldn't figure out what's wrong with the fish. Jingwang's fish was fine. However, the servants raised plenty of pets before and knew that most pets didn't like being confined. Therefore, they gathered their courage to tactfully tell Jingwang that perhaps Master Fish wasn't very used to being always sealed inside a bottle. After all, the crystal fish tank where the fish was kept before was extremely big. After being kept in such a small container, the area where the fish could swim became very limited. Over time, it ended up not liking to move anymore. After saying all of this, the servants felt somewhat regretful. Jingwang was the one who wanted to place the fish inside the crystal bottle in the first place, but now he insisted that they told him the truth. The servants were put in a difficult position. Jingwang. So that's why? Jingwang nodded. He fully understood what the servants was trying to tell him. Although the crystal bottle was convenient for bringing this fish around, he couldn't let this fish stay in the bottle all the time as the fish would get depressed. He had to take the fish's condition into consideration. However, he also couldn't let the fish stay inside his room by itself since it was being targeted by the thief. Jingwang thought of a compromise not long afterwards. He put fish tank and bigger teacups in the few places he frequented in Jing Estate. The fish would still come with him, but when he got to these places, he would immediately take the fish out of the crystal bottle and put it in the nearby fish tank or teacup. All should be settled like this. Liu only withered for 2 hours to reach his objective, then he discovered that he could occasionally return to the fish tank from time to time. Jingwang himself opened the cover of the bottle and placed the bottle inside the fish tank. The little carp finally stopped being lethargic and jumped out of the crystal bottle like an arrow released from a bow. Sure enough, it was more fitting for fish to stay inside a fish tank. As Liu swam comfortably inside the tank, he let out deep sighs. He turned his head to look at the bottle that remained submerged to the bottom of the fish tank. It's not like he didn't want to stay together with Jingwang at all times. This was an act of kindness from his master after all. In order to express his gratitude towards his master, the little carp specifically circled the crystal bottle and danced the hula dance, doing his best to transmit his intentions towards Jingwang. The bottle was very good. He was also happy to be with Jingwang all over. Just don't keep him shut inside the bottle all the time. Jingwang really did sense the fish was happy to be out of the crystal bottle. With his lips curving, he squeezed the fish's slippery back. The fish and the human finally reached an agreement. Liu, who celebrated for a good while, then discovered that staying inside the fish tank still meant staying together with Jingwang at all times. What to do? He still couldn't find a chance to transform like this. Could it be that he have to give up on his ability to change into human once a day indefinitely? Liu had a headache. Should he let Jingwang know that the thief Jingwang guarded against to protect this fish, was actually this fish himself? However, compared to the distress of not being able to transform, the plan to save Xuěshān was clearly more important at the moment. Liu already implemented his plans to save Xuěshān. While he was inside the crystal bottle the last few days, he once heard Wang Shi report to Jingwang that Chang'an Palace had started to watch the second prince and the sixth prince's activities. This was what Xuěshān had promised. Liu sent the letter exactly to alert the Chang'an Palace and increase their vigilance. Actually, even he himself was not sure whether Xuěshān would still ended up engaged to the princess of Jinju now that the romantic plotline between Jingwang and the pampered concubine was gone. Liu did his best to write down some of the events that occurred in the novel in a simple manner. Even if it didn't happen in the end and this letter was treated as a fake, it didn't matter. At the very least, Chang'an Palace wouldn't be easily tricked by the second prince and sixth prince like what happened in the original novel. Although he was almost caught by Jingwang again and his cover was almost blown, the operation to save Xuěshān could be considered as successful. Nevertheless, the side quest Impenetrable Fortress, which was related to Xuěshān, still didn't give the completion notification yet. Without this notification, it meant that the quest was not yet completed, but that's fine. Liu's main goal this time was to save Xuěshān. Keeping him alive was the most important thing, receiving the reward was just secondary. Thinking it from another perspective, did this signify that sending a letter to alert Chang'an Palace was not enough and that Xuěshān still might experience the same tragic ending as in the original novel? Since Liu had already decided to do this mission to save Xuěshān, he shouldn't give up halfway. If writing a letter wasn't enough, what else could he do? Liu remembered that in the original novel, Xuěshān was framed inside the imperial palace. That time was set a few days after the Dragon Boat Festival. Although Liu mentioned all of this in the letter, who knows how Xuěshān would respond. Liu felt the most straightforward plan was to stop Xuěshān from entering the imperial palace around this time and kept him away from the location of the trap as far as possible. However, stopping Xuěshān from entering the imperial palace was even harder than writing and sending a letter to him. If he wanted to stop Jingwang, he might have a better chance. However, Xuěshān was from Chang'an Palace. His fish's fins are too short. He couldn't reach that far. Liu worried until his fish head hurt. He didn't know if fish would lose scales if they used their head too much as well, but he vaguely felt like all of the scales on his body were falling off. Luckily Jingwang had the same thought as him. Wang Shi only said that Chang'an Palace made plans, but Jingwang didn't know exactly what Xuěshān planned to do. Therefore, he ordered people to get Xuěshān and drag him over. On behalf of Jingwang, Wang Shi reprimanded him severely and haughtily. Xuěshān, who thought he was finally receiving concern from Jingwang. It seemed that Jingwang was also of opinion that it would be best for Xuěshān to stay away from the imperial palace around that time. As he was listening inside the fish tank, Liu couldn't help but excitedly think, as expected of his master. Their hearts were connected and beat as one. Xuěshān should listen to Jingwang's advice, right? However, Xuěshān shook his head and declined. Tianqi, I can't just not enter the imperial palace because of some words in a letter. Yet Xinghuan understood that Jing Wang was saying this for his own good. However, he was very clear that he usually wouldn't enter the palace without reason anyways, and when he did, it would be because of imperial edicts. It's fine to become more vigilant, but if he were to defy an imperial order or deceive the emperor because of some impossible to confirm information, the Chang'an palace, as well as his mother and father, definitely wouldn't let him off. Yet Xinghuan gave a carefree smile and said, "I'll act how I should act and see how these people plan to harm me." Really? An impossibly stupid person. Although Jing Wang disdained Yet Xinghuan for his recklessness, after mumbling to himself for a while, he still gave Wang Shi a look. Wang Shi was so moved that tears rolled out of his eyes. "My lord, don't worry. His Highness decided to enter the imperial palace together with you. With His Highness watching from the side, you will definitely be fine." "Tianqi, thank you very much." Jing Wang usually treated people apathetically. For a second, Yet Xinghuan felt so touched, he wanted to step forth to pat his cousin on the shoulder, but he was smacked away furiously by Jing Wang. Li Yu always felt that Ye Shizi's little bright-eye expression and his continuous attempt to pat Jing Wang despite repeatedly failing to do so was somewhat familiar. After a careful deliberation, Li Yu thought, wasn't this just like Xiongfeng? Xiongfeng often wanted to use his nose to poke the fish, scaring Li Yu to hide away yelling. Even if they were separated by the crystal wall, Xiongfeng still kept poking. Looking at Ye Shizi again, Li Yu thought the other seemed to have grown a long dog tail behind him, which was currently wagging cheerfully. Li Yu. A dog really does take after its master. In the original novel, Jing Wang didn't accompany Ye Xinghuan into the imperial palace. Now that Jing Wang was going, the two could look after each other. Li Yu felt much more comforted inside. According to Jing Wang's recent habit of bringing Li Yu wherever he went, he was definitely entering the palace as well. Then he could go watch out for Ye Shizi personally. After 10 days, the Dragon Boat Festival was approaching. The ruler of the nation of Jinju, King of Jinju, came to the imperial city to have an audience with the emperor. The emperor let the Minister of Rites make the arrangements to hold a banquet in the Hall of Supreme Harmony for the King of Jinju. Since it was a state banquet, Jing Wang and Ye Xinghuan had to attend as well. When they saw the beautiful and lovely, 16-year-old young woman next to the King of Jinju step forth to pay respect to the emperor, the two men gave each other a knowing look. So this was the Princess of Jinju. The one that was mentioned in the letter, someone who originally had no connections to them at all, was now right before them. Jing Wang and Ye Xinghuan both tensed up. The emperor recently received letters from the King of Jinju. The King of Jinju was looking for a political alliance through marriage and marry his little princess into this nation. Considering the diplomatic relationship between the two nations, the emperor gladly agreed. As for who should the young princess should be married to, the emperor went through the list of men of suitable age within the imperial city. The ones with the most respectable status were naturally his sons. However, the Princess of Jinju was a foreigner after all, so it was not suitable for her to become the main wife of a prince. Yet the King of Jinju mentioned in his letters already that the young princess didn't want to be a concubine. The emperor remembered Jing Wang hadn't married yet. Although he couldn't inherit the throne, it was still possible for him to marry the Princess of Jinju. However, the emperor immediately rejected this idea. Jing Wang was a mute. The Princess of Jinju might not like him in the end. Also, as long as the emperor had not announced a crown prince yet, Jing Wang was still the main son who had the most respectable position. If he let Jing Wang marry a foreigner, who was he supposed to arrange as the other prince's main wives? The emperor decided not to choose any of his sons but instead, looked towards other sons of nobility to marry the Princess of Jinju. Soon, the heir of Chang'an Palace entered his line of sight. In the Hall of Supreme Harmony, the emperor said with a smile, "Ye Shizi, you will be in charge of the safety of the King and Princess of Jinju during their stay inside the imperial palace." Yet Xinghuan felt the blood inside his entire body turn cold. Grinding his teeth, he knelt and accepted the imperial edict. At the banquet, Jingwang took his seat and then pulled out the crystal bottle from inside his sleeve. There were many complicated etiquettes that needed to be observed for the state banquet. Who knows if Xiao Yu had been stifled terribly this entire time. When he entered the imperial palace today, he originally didn't plan to bring along this fish. However, Xiao Yu jumped into the crystal bottle and refused to come out. Its black jade-like eyes stared at him intently. Smiling, Jingwang can only put the crystal bottle with the fish inside his sleeve. When he took out the crystal bottle, everyone around him were stunned at this scene. Jingwang was actually carrying a fish with him. Some of the people in the place had seen when Jingwang moved the huge crystal tank back home before, yet for a moment, even they didn't know what to say to this. The second prince was sitting amongst the other princes, chatting cheerfully with others and acting like an ideal crown prince. When he saw the fish, his expression immediately turned ugly. "Second prince, we meet again." Li Yu leisurely waved his tail at Mu Tianzhao. He was here to wreak havoc on the second prince's fine plans once more. End chapter.